to God.
All right, on March. Yeah. All minds clear? Come on, Sheila, it's time to pray. Sheila. Turn around. All right. This is Deuteronomy, or Devarim, chapter 6 and verse 4. Hear, O Yisrael, Yahuwah our Elohim, Yahuwah is one. Shema Yisrael.
Shema Yisrael.
Yahuwah Eloheinu.
Yahuwah Eloheinu.
Yahuwah Echad.
Yahuwah Echad.
Exodus, or Shemot, chapter 20 and verse 3. We will have no other mighty ones.
We will have no other mighty ones.
Against the Most High.
Against the Most High.
We will not make any carved image.
We will not make any carved image.
Or any likeness.
Or any likeness.
Of that which is in Shamayim above.
Of that which is in Shamayim above.
Or which is in the earth beneath.
Or which is in the earth beneath.
Or which is in the waters under the earth.
Or which is in the waters under the earth.
We will not bow down to them.
We will not bow down to them.
Nor serve them.
Nor serve them.
For Yahuwah our El
For Yahuwah our El
is a jealous El.
is a jealous El.
Visiting the wickedness.
Visiting the wickedness.
Of the fathers on the children.
Of the fathers on the children.
To the third and fourth generations.
To the third and fourth generation.
Of those that hate him.
Of those that hate him.
But showing kindness.
Showing kindness.
To thousands of those.
Thousands of
Who
those.
love him.
Who love him.
And keep his commandments.
And keep his commandments.
We will not bring the name.
We will not bring the name.
Of Yahuwah our El.
Of Yahuwah our El.
In vain.
In vain.
For Yahuwah
For Yahuwah
will not leave us unpunished.
will not leave us unpunished.
Who brings his name in vain.
Who brings his name in vain.
We will remember the Shabbat day.
We will remember the Shabbat
To
day.
keep it Kodesh.
To keep it Kodesh.
6 days we will labor.
6 days we will
And
labor.
do all our work.
Do all our
But
work.
the seventh day
But the seventh day
is the Shabbat
is the Shabbat
of Yahuwah our
of
El.
Yahuwah our El.
For in 6 days
For in 6 days
Yahuwah made Shamayim
Yahuwah made Shamayim
and the earth
and the earth
and the sea
and the sea
and all that is in them,
and all that is in them.
and rested the seventh day.
And rested the seventh day.
Therefore Yahuwah barak the Shabbat day.
Therefore Yahuwah brought the Shabbat day.
We will respect our
We
fathers
will respect our fathers
and our mothers,
and our mothers.
so that our days are long
That our days are long
upon the earth.
upon the
We
earth.
will not murder.
We will not
We
murder.
will not commit adultery.
We will not commit
We
adultery.
will not steal.
We will not steal.
We will not bear false witness
We will not bear false witness
against our neighbor.
against our
We
neighbor.
will not covet
We will not covet
anything
anything
that is our
that
neighbor.
is our neighbor.
Father, y'all give thanks for this set apart day, Father, a day to gather together for your name's sake, Father, to keep your word, Father, as it is written, Father, on this day of rest. Father, we give thanks for this rest. We ask that you would allow us to recuperate mind, body, spirit, Father, on every level, Father. We pray and ask, Father, that you would allow us to receive your word, Father, in its unadulterated form, Father, that you would give utterance unto the speaker and understanding unto the hearer, so that we all may become doers, Father. All these things we pray. Hashem Yehuwah, Ben Kai Yehoshua, Hamashiach, Ruach HaKodesh, so be it.
So be it.
Yeah. Go back. Go back.
Come back, Nick. Nick, come on. Get up. Don't let him go there.
The jet zone. What's up? All right. How's everybody? All right. Dry as always. Today we going into human sacrifices. Right? Do y'all think the Most High would allow a human sacrifice? Okay. Well, so according to the law, we got a lot of people who take this subject and flip it around and make it what it's not. So we're going to see that people been taking certain scriptures and adding to them or reading something into the text that's not there. We get a lot of people who do this. This is a dangerous thing to do. So we're going to read all of these scriptures that people have read into the text and made it say something that you wanted to say, but it don't say what you think it says. So this is human sacrifice. Right? First script, give me Deuteronomy 12:32. And when you read stuff into the text, it's a dangerous thing.
The book of Deuteronomy, or Devarim, chapter 12 and verse 32. What things soever I command you, observe to do it. You shall not add thereto.
You shall what?
You shall not add thereto, nor diminish from it.
Nor diminish from it. Don't add to it, and don't diminish from it, and don't take away. Again, a lot of people take these scriptures, read something into the text that it don't say. You have just broken this because you have added to it. So by them using these certain scriptures, they'll come to a person that don't really got quite the right understanding, and they'll say, well, if Yah says this, that he don't want no human sacrifice, then how can JC have died for your sins? Right? But they doing this not even understanding, like the book says, deceiving and being deceived. That's what they doing. Give me Deuteronomy 24:16.
Deuteronomy, or Devarim, chapter 24, verse 16. The fathers shall not be put to death for the children, neither shall the children be put to death for the fathers.
So they'll use a scripture like this. And it'll say, see, JC can't die for your sins. And we ain't going to go into this, but we know right in the story of Achan that he got his whole family killed. No, when David slept with Uriah's wife and they had a child, the baby died in this instance, right? So do your research and go and look into them stories, and you can see that them children was put to death for what their fathers done. Because this ain't talking about that. But again, cats don't study the law. All right? What is Moses known for? What is he known for writing? The law, right? So he was the one that went up in the mountain and the Most High gave him the laws, right? So if anybody should know the law, it should be Moses, right? Let's see. Malachi 4. Please turn those bells off. Malachi 4 and 4.
The book of Malachi, chapter 4 and verse 4. Remember you the law of Moses.
Do what?
Remember you the law of
The
Moses.
law of Moses. So it's called, we know that it's Yah's law, but they call it the law of Moses. Read.
Remember you the law of Moses, my servant, which I command unto him in Horeb.
Where?
In Horeb.
So remember the law of Moses. So again, we got it directly. The law of Moses. Here's another witness. Luke chapter 24 and 44. Luke chapter 24 and 44.
The book of Luke, chapter 24, and verse 44. Thank you. And he said unto them, These are the words which I spake unto you, while I was yet with you, that things must be fulfilled, that all things must be fulfilled, which were written in the law of Moses.
Written where?
In the law of Moses.
Everything must be fulfilled, which was written in the law of Moses. So, if anybody know the law, what's in it, and not to do, Moses should know this, right?
Yes, sir.
Because it's the law of Moses, according to the book. All right? So, if it's a sin for a human sacrifice, let's see something. Give me Exodus 32. Exodus 32, and we're going to pick it up at verse 30.
Shemot, chapter 32, verse 30. And it came to pass on the morrow that Moses said to the people, You have sinned a great sin.
You did what?
You have sinned a great sin.
So the people are in sin right now. Read.
And now I will go up unto Yahuwah. Perhaps I shall make an atonement for your sins.
I shall do what?
Make an atonement for your sins.
What does atonement mean? But Moses, notice, he didn't say, I got a lamb in my arm, and I'm about to go up and make an atonement for you. It says Moses went up and said, peradventure, I make an atonement for you.
Nothing can come to the mountain.
Right, exactly. Nothing can come up there. He already said, at least they break through and try to gaze in and die. So nothing can get up there. Right? So Moses just says, I'm going to go up and make an atonement for you. Atonement means to blot out, to cover up, like a sin. Read.
Verse 31. And Moses returned unto Yahuwah and said, Oh, this people have sinned a great sin, and have made them gods of gold. Yet now, if you will forgive their sin,
If you do what?
if you will forgive their sin,
Pardon their sins, forgive their sins. What?
if not, blot me, I pray you, out of your book
So
which
what
you
is-
have written.
When Moses say, blot me out of your book, what is he doing right here?
Sacrifice the sin.
So if Moses know the law, he wrote it, and they call it the law of Moses, then why would Moses turn around right here and say, sacrifice me for the people? Right here, this is Moses, this would be an abominable thing. That wouldn't make sense for the lawgiver to do something that's against the law and say this. Let's see if the Most High get mad at him and say, you know I don't accept no sacrifice. Why comest thou? What? Let's see if he says something like that. Read.
Verse 33. And Yahuwah said unto Moses, Whosoever have sinned against me, him will I blot out of my book.
Oh. So guess what? If it ain't nobody to atone for you, then we all dead, right? According to this, it says, and Yahuwah said unto Moses, Whosoever have sinned against me, him will I blot out my book. Everybody that sinned against him, right? According to this, we all blotted out. Right? But Moses offered his own self up to be a sacrifice. We know the Most High speaking similitudes and trying to show you something. Read that verse again.
And Yahuwah said unto Moses, Whosoever have sinned against me, him will I blot out of my book. Therefore now go, lead the people unto the place of which I have spoken unto you. Behold, my Malachim shall be before you.
Who gonna go before him?
My Malachim, or messenger, shall be before you.
Same thing you talking about that prophecy was talking about, right?
Absolutely.
This Malachim going before them. But why couldn't Moses sacrifice himself? According to the law. Because he was what?
With sin.
He was with sin.
Absolutely.
So the reason why he don't accept Moses' sacrifice is because Moses has sin on himself. When you sacrifice, it has to be without blemish. Let's see. Get me Exodus 12 and 5. Exodus chapter 12 and verse 5. This is why studying the law will keep you from doing a lot of folly.
Exodus chapter 12 and verse 5. Your lamb shall be without blemish, a male of the first year. You shall take it out from the sheep or from the goats.
So anything that's sacrificed has got to be without blemish. We know, we finna see, Moses has sin on him already. Therefore, he can't offer himself up to be the sacrifice. I mean, he can, but he can't be it. Let's see. Exodus chapter 2 and verse 11.
Exodus chapter 2 and verse 11. And it came to pass in those days, when Moses was grown, that he went out unto his brethren, and looked on their burdens. And he spied an Egyptian smiting a Hebrew, one of his brethren. And he looked this way and that way, and when he saw that there was no man, he slew the Egyptian, and hid him in the sand.
So Moses just committed what?
Murder.
Right? So, again, Moses has sin on him, his own self. Therefore, he's not qualified to be a sacrifice or to atone for these sins, for the people of Israel, for the nation. Right? But, like he just told him over here, he says, blot me out. And if he blot us all out, that means nobody can be saved, but somebody got to come. Let's see. According to the law, Deuteronomy 18, pick it up at verse 15. And we're going to show you directly somebody being sacrificed in the physical, not the spiritual. We don't show you that, but we're going to show you directly. I know some of y'all out there already saying, okay, show it. Yep, I got you. I got you. Deuteronomy 18 and verse 15.
Deuteronomy, or Devarim, chapter 18 and verse 15. Yahuwah your Elohim will raise up unto you a prophet from the midst of you, of your brethren, like unto me. Unto him you shall hearken.
Unto him shall you hearken. Go ahead.
According to all that you desire of Yahuwah Elohim in Horeb, in the day of the assembly, saying, let me not hear again the voice of Yahuwah my Elohim, neither let me see this great fire anymore.
Jump down to verse 18.
Verse 18. I will raise them up a prophet from among their brethren, like unto you.
Like unto who?
Like unto you.
So he going to be like Moses. What did Moses try to do? Sacrifice himself for the people, right? So this prophet has to do the same thing. If we read the whole book of Joshua, because a lot of people that say that this is Joshua, can we show Joshua trying to sacrifice himself for the people?
Not at all.
Not at all. Nope. So Joshua can't be this prophet. Got me? Read that again.
I will raise them up a prophet from among their brethren, like unto you. I will put my words in his mouth, and he shall speak unto them all that I shall command him.
Everything that I command him. He won't speak nothing of himself. He's going to speak of all that I command him. We're going to see. So everybody is different ways to sacrifice something. Everybody that done went to the army, to the Navy, or any of these things, you was going for your country, right? Or you get the money, but
Get out of trouble.
while you was there, you knew it was a possibility that you might be put in a war and do what?
Die.
And die, right? See what I'm saying? So this would be a sacrifice, right? I still got y'all. We're going. I got y'all. Trust me. So, get me James 1 and 13. James chapter 1 and 13.
James chapter 1 and verse 13.
Now remember, if this was evil, the Most High should have got Moses if this was an evil thing that he just did. Read.
Let no man say when he is tempted, I am tempted of Elohim. For Elohim cannot be tempted with evil, neither tempt he any man.
So he said he not tempted with evil, and he don't tempt any man with evil. Now remember, Moses just tried to sacrifice himself for the children of Israel, and it wasn't called an evil thing. Let me Genesis chapter 22. Just said he don't tempt, nobody don't tempt him with evil, and he don't tempt any man with evil. Genesis chapter 22. We're going to go through all of them verses that people then added in their own interpretation of it, and they don't say what they think they're saying. Genesis 22 and verse 1.
Genesis chapter 22 and verse 1. And it came to pass after these things that Elohim did tempt Abraham, and he said unto him,
He did what?
he did tempt Abraham,
He did tempt Abraham, and this is the Most High doing this. Read.
and said unto him, Abraham. And he said, behold, here I am. And he said, take now your son, your only son Isaac, whom you love.
He said, whose son?
Your only son Isaac.
Your only son, Isaac. But Isaac, he got about 7, 8 other sons, right? You know Ishmael is already there. But go ahead.
Whom you love, and get you into the land of Moriah, and offer him there for a burnt offering.
Do what?
Offer him there for a burnt offering.
For a burnt offering. I want y'all to keep that in mind. He says a burnt offering or a burnt sacrifice. Right? This is the Most High telling him to do this. Read.
For a burnt offering upon one of the mountains which I will tell of you. And Abraham rose up early in the morning, saddled his donkey, and took 2 of his young men with him, and Isaac his son, and clave the wood for the burnt offering, and rose up, and went unto the place of which Elohim had told him. Then on the 3rd day,
What day?
on the 3rd day,
7-2. Read.
Abraham lifted up his eyes, and saw the place afar off. Abraham said to his young men, abide you here with the donkey, and I and the lad will go yonder, and worship, and come again to you. And Abraham took the wood of the burnt offering, and laid it upon Isaac his son.
Laid the wood on him. Somebody was carrying some wood in it. That's enough. Keep reading.
And he took the fire in his hand, and a knife, and they went both of them together. And Isaac spake unto Abraham his father, and said, my father. And he said, here am I, my son. And he said, before the fire and the wood. But where is the lamb for a burnt offering?
So at this moment, Isaac don't know. So where the lamb at? I know we finna do a burnt sacrifice, but where the lamb is at? Read.
And Abraham said, my son, Elohim will provide himself a lamb for a burnt offering. So they went both of them together. And they came to the place which Elohim had told of him. And Abraham built an altar there, and laid the wood in order, and bound Isaac his son, and laid him on the altar upon the wood.
So now Isaac got to know what's happening. Because he said he bound him, and he laid him on the wood. But there's no record of Isaac screaming and saying, no, daddy, don't do this. Right? This means if he's not saying not to do this, then he must be what?
Sacrifice.
A sacrifice. He must be willing to go through with this. Because there's no record of him fighting back and saying, don't do this. Exactly. He wasn't a child. It's no record of him saying, no, daddy, don't kill me. Because if that was one of us, what would we be saying right there? Hold on a minute. Wait. Hold on. What you doing? Right? Because that's what we ain't no way you about to kill me. You think you about to burn me?
Think you about to-
Right. This means he's a willing sacrifice. Go ahead.
And they came to the place which Elohim told him of, and Abraham built an altar there, and laid the wood in order, and bound Isaac his son, and laid him on the altar upon the wood. And Abraham stretched forth his hand, and took the knife to slay his son.
And to do what?
Took the knife to slay his son.
So right here, no more record. Isaac ain't flinching or nothing, trying to get out. Still laying there. Read.
And the messenger of Yahuwah called unto him out of Shamaim, and said, Abraham, Abraham. And he said, Here am I. And he said, Lay not your hand upon the lad, neither do you anything to him. For now I know that you fear Elohim, seeing you have not withheld your son, your only son, from me.
From me. So right here, he's showing you directly that if the person was willing to do it, it was okay. He's showing you right here. And this the Most High tempting him with this. Not nobody else. He was a willing sacrifice. And he said, he don't tempt you with evil. So this must mean that this wasn't an evil thing. The Most High don't tempt you with evil. This is not an evil thing. But let's see. Because I know y'all still saying, that don't do it for me. That don't do it. I got you. Get me Judges chapter 11. Praise the Most High. Judges chapter 11. Pick it up at verse 29. Judges chapter 11 and verse 29.
Judges chapter 11 and verse 29. Then the Ruach of Yahuwah came upon Jephthah, and he passed over Gilead and Manasseh, and passed over Mizpeh and Gilead, and from Mizpeh of Gilead he passed over unto the children of Ammon.
Right?
And Jephthah vowed a vow.
He did what?
Vowed a vow.
So Jephthah just vowed a vow. So according to the law, when you vow a vow, what happens?
You got to pay it. You bound, your soul is bound to it.
Let's go here. Let's see. Hold what we got right here. We're coming right back. Let's get Numbers chapter 30 and verse 2. Through thy precepts we get understanding. Not read the verse and then tell you what it means. So Jephthah just vowed a vow.
Numbers chapter 30 and verse 2. If a man vow a vow unto Yahuwah, or swear an oath to bind his soul with a bond, He shall not break his
He
word.
shall what?
He shall not break his word.
So once he vowed his vow, he shall not break his word. Go ahead.
He shall do according to all that proceed out of his mouth.
So his law says that everything be established by 2 or 3 witnesses. Get me Ecclesiastes 5 and 4. So once you make a vow to the Most High, you gotta pay it. Ecclesiastes 5 and verse 4.
Ecclesiastes chapter 5 at verse 4. When you vow a vow unto
When you do what?
when you vow a vow
When you vow a vow, read.
unto Elohim, defer not to pay it,
Hey, defer not to pay it, read.
for he have no pleasure in fools.
In what?
In fools.
In fools, read.
Pay that which you have owed.
Pay what you owe. So if you make a vow to him, you better make sure that you try your best to keep it. Read.
Better is it that you should not vow than that you should vow and not pay.
So he's letting you know it's better not to even make the vow than for you to vow something and then don't do it. So he's letting you know it's a serious thing to make a vow, and Jephthah just vowed a vow, right? Let's go back to it. Judges chapter 11, pick it up at verse 30 again. Judges 11 and 30.
Judges 11 and 30. And Jephthah vowed a vow unto Yahuwah, and said, if you shall without fail deliver the children of Ammon into my hands.
So if you deliver the Ammonites into my hand, I'm going to do something for you. Read.
Then it shall be that whatsoever come forth of the doors of my house.
So notice he says, whatsoever cometh forth out of the doors of my house. He don't say whosoever, but he says whatsoever comes out. Read.
To meet me when I return in peace from the children of Ammon shall surely be Yahuwah's.
So whatever it is that come out these doors, it's going to be Yahuwah's. No matter what it is. Now I'm pretty sure he was hoping to be, sheep or something that came out. Well, let's see. Read.
Verse 32. So Jephthah passed over unto the children of Ammon.
Hold on, go back to the 31.
Verse 31. Then it shall be that whatsoever come forth of the doors of my house to meet me, when I return in peace from the children of Ammon, shall surely be Yahuwah's, and I will offer it up for a burnt offering.
He says he's going to offer whatever come through the doors up as a burnt offering. Whatever it is, it's got to be burnt offering. And he just did what?
Make a vow.
Vowed a vow, right? Read.
So Jephthah passed over unto the children of Ammon to fight against them, and Yahuwah delivered them into his hand.
Oh, so the Most High just took care of his part, right? Read.
And he smote them from Aurora even until you come to Minnith, even 20 cities, and unto the plain of the vineyards, with a very great slaughter. Thus the children of Ammon were subdued before the children of Israel. And Jephthah came to Mizpah unto his house.
So now he just got home from the slaughter, watching it go down. Read.
And behold, his daughter came out to meet him.
It told us, whatsoever come out the doors. He says, it's going to be a burnt offering or a burnt sacrifice, right? Now he just get home and his baby girl comes out the door. But surely he'll say, no, I know you didn't mean that. No, you didn't mean that. I know you was talking about a sheep or something coming out. But let's see. Read.
His daughter came out to meet him with timbrels and with dances, and she was his only child.
She's what?
His only child.
Oh, surely the Most High is going to require this of him. That's his only child, right? Read.
Beside her, he had neither son nor daughter. And it came to pass, when he saw her, that he rent his clothes and said, Alas!
Tore his clothes. Because he made a vow, right? Read.
My daughter, you have brought me very low. You are one of them that trouble me. For I have opened my mouth unto Yahuwah.
I did what?
I have opened my mouth unto Yahuwah.
Because he vowed that vow. And the Most High say, my word don't return to me void. So once he says something and it's according to his law, he got to what? He got to do it. Read.
I have opened my mouth unto Yahuwah, and I cannot go back.
So he opened his mouth unto Yahuwah, and once you say something, it's on you. Hold what you got right there. Matthew chapter 12, 36.
Matthew, Yahu, chapter 12 and verse 36. But I say unto you, that every idle word,
Every what?
every idle word,
Everything you say. He opened his mouth and made the vow. He told us 2 places. If you make a vow to me, you got to go through with it. It's better not to make the vow than the vow and not do it. Read.
but I say to you, that every idle word that men shall speak, they shall give account thereof in the day of judgment.
Read.
For by your words you shall be justified, and by your words you shall be condemned.
By your words you're going to be justified, or by your words you're going to be condemned. So he done made this vow. He done spoke. He done opened his mouth. And since you've done this, the Most High got to follow his own law. It will make him unrighteous. Go back to the Judges. Pick up where you left off at. Verse 35.
Verse 35. And it came to pass, when he saw her, he rent his clothes and said, Alas, my daughter, you have brought me very low, and you are one of them that trouble me. For I have opened my mouth unto Yahuwah.
Every idle word, read.
And I cannot go back.
I can't go back because I vowed it. I cannot go back. Read.
And she said unto him, My father, if you have opened your mouth unto Yahuwah, do to me according to that which proceed out of your mouth.
So she is what?
A willing sacrifice.
She is willing to do it because she know her father just made a vow. So she understands the law. So she's a willing sacrifice right here. And she know that it's got to happen. So everything that you said, Daddy, I got to do it. Now imagine if that was one of them. Right? That's on you, Daddy. You said that.
Don't put me in your best.
You made that vow. I'm not participating in this. Ain't no way.
You ask some questions. So if I don't do it, you gonna get in trouble then?
What? She understands. So she is right here showing that she is a willing sacrifice. Read.
And she said to her father, matter of fact, I'm going to go back. And she said unto him, this is verse 36, My father, if you have opened your mouth unto Yahuwah to do to me according to that which had proceeded out of your mouth. For as much as Yahuwah hath taken vengeance for you of your enemies, even the children of Ammon. And she said unto her father, Let this thing be done for me.
Let it be done what?
Let this thing be done for me.
Let it be done for me. Go ahead.
Let me alone 2 months, that I may go up and down the mountains, and bewail my virginity, I and my fellow.
And her companion. So she said, just give me 2 months. I just got to go up and down in the mountains because I'm a willing sacrifice. But it's just like Mashiach said. Spirit is willing.
Flesh is weak.
Flesh is weak.
By some affliction.
And she's a virgin. Which means she's more pure. Right? Go ahead.
Verse 38. And he said, Go. And he sent her away for 2 months. And she went with her companions, and bewailed her virginity upon the mountains. And it came to pass at the end of 2 months, that she returned unto her father.
I wouldn't have came back. Straight up. I know what you about to do. Go ahead.
And she returned unto her father, who did with her according to his vow.
He did what?
He did with her according to his vow.
He did with her according to his vow. What was his vow again?
Sacrifice, whatever came through his door.
Let's go back and read it. I'm going to read verse 31. So he says, he did to her according to his vow. Verse 31 shows us what it is. Then it shall be that whatsoever cometh forth of the doors of my house to meet me, when I return in peace from the children of Ammon, shall surely be Yahuwah's, and I will offer it up for a burnt offering or a burnt sacrifice. This right here shows you directly a burnt sacrifice going on. Read where you left off.
And it came to pass at the end of 2 months, that she returned to her father, who did with her according to his vow, which he had vowed. And she knew no man. And it was a custom in Israel, that the daughters of Israel went yearly to lament the daughter of Jephthah, the Gileadite, 4 days in a year.
So this thing became like a memorial. They had to go and lament for this daughter because she was innocent. She was willing to do this directly. Old Testament got you. But do the Most High want a sacrifice? No. He don't want to do none of these things. But this is required in His law. When you break it, something has to die.
So in retrospect, he didn't even have to ask for that.
Exactly. 1 Samuel 15:22. All he had to do was say, Yahuwah, if you do this for me, I'm going to make a sacrifice of some lambs for you. But you tried to go overboard.
It's like a lot of people right now.
Exactly. He got to hold you because it's his law. My law says this is what happened when you vow. I got to do it. He ain't say, I know that's your only daughter. I'm going to let you slide this time. No, it got to happen. 1 Samuel 15, 22.
1 Samuel chapter 15 and verse 22. And Samuel said, hath Yahuwah as great delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices, as in obeying the voice of Yahuwah? Behold, to obey is better than sacrifice.
To do what?
To obey is better than sacrifice.
To obey and do what I told you to do is better than sacrificing. You don't want the sacrifice. This means an innocent animal gotta die. So if you do what you're supposed to do, then these animals don't gotta die. My son don't got, none of these things don't have to happen. Read that from the top again.
1 Samuel 15:22. And Samuel said, hath Yahuwah as great delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices, as in obeying the voice of Yahuwah? Behold, to obey is better than sacrifice, and to listen than the fat of rams.
And to listen is better than the fat of rams. So he's letting you know it's better to just do what I tell you to do. So these things don't have to even take place. No sacrifice needs to be done. But we know our people is hard-headed. The flesh is weak. All these things. But we're supposed to sacrifice ourselves. Just like Trail brought out in one of them lessons. You can't try to twist up at what he was saying. But let's see. Romans chapter 12 and verse 1.
Romans chapter 12 and verse 1. I beseech you therefore, brethren, by the mercies of Elohim, that you present your bodies.
Do what?
You present your bodies
As what?
a living sacrifice.
As a living sacrifice. So we all supposed to die to ourselves, supposed to die to the flesh daily, right? Read that again.
I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of Elohim, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice, kodesh, acceptable unto Elohim.
Kodesh and acceptable, not full of sin. That's not acceptable. When you didn't die to yourself. 1 Peter 2 and 5. And we still got them verses that everybody then added to show you. But they still gonna say, well, what about he directly says he don't take human sacrifices. So I don't care. I know you just showed me that, but still,
Get around
you
here.
can't get around this. I got you. Pipe down. Got you. 1 Peter 2 and verse 5.
1 Peter chapter 2 and verse 5. You also, as living stones, are built up a spiritual house, a kodesh priesthood, to offer up spiritual sacrifices.
Do what?
To offer up spiritual sacrifices.
Offer up spiritual sacrifices. Now, the more you do this work, and the more you try to walk and follow after Yah, what happens to the people around you? They get mad and stuff, right? So every time we go on the streets and you're preaching, it's a possibility that something can happen to you, right?
This is true.
Every single time, because people get completely mad when you tell them, he said it right here. I know the pork is good, but he said don't eat it right here. They get completely mad at you. Right? So every time you go on the street, you put yourself in a sacrificial type of state. Every time you preach this word, you put yourself in harm's way and danger because it's somebody that can't stand you for doing it. It's been all through the book. The whole time, right? So the more you do this, more people are going to want to kill you. Give me Nehemiah chapter 9. I mean Nemo 9 and 26. Insider.
Boy, they changed the name to one of the books in the Bible.
Right.
It's me, quality, changing it. Landing on fire.
Insider.
The book of Nehemiah, chapter 9, verse 26. Nevertheless, they were disobedient.
They were what?
They were disobedient and rebelled against you and cast your law behind their backs, slew your prophets, which testified against them to turn them to you.
To do what?
To turn them to you.
Go ahead.
And they wrought great provocations. Therefore, you delivered them into the hand of their enemies, who vexed them. And in time of their trouble, when they cried unto you, you heard them from Shamaim. And according to your manifold mercies, you gave them saviors.
You gave them what?
Gave them saviors.
Gave them saviors. According to your manifold mercy, he sent you saviors. This ain't new. Nothing new under the sun. But we know that these saviors right here, they had sin on them as well. Give me 1 Kings 19 and 4.
First Kings, chapter 19, and verse 4.
Now this is Elijah when Jezebel was trying to get at him. Because Elijah then killed all of the 450 false prophets. Go ahead.
But he himself went a day's journey into the wilderness, and came and sat down under a juniper tree. He requested for himself that he might die.
But he went what?
That he might die.
Why? Read.
And said, it is enough. Now, Yahuwah, take away my life, for I am not better than my fathers.
So he right here, he ready to die for this. Because he already see all the prophets before they getting killed. Because they sacrificing themselves to do this word. And the more you do it, the more the people going to despise you and hate you. Let's get Acts chapter 7. And verse 56.
Acts of the Apostles, chapter 7, verse 56.
So it ain't nothing new under the sun. This was what happened to all the prophets. Go ahead.
And said, behold, I see the Shamaim open.
I did what?
I see the Shamaim open.
It was open. So that means they couldn't see it through it beforehand. Read.
And the Son of Man standing on the right hand of Elohim.
Usually say he sits on the right hand. But this time it says he's standing. This must be something special that's going on. Or dramatic. Read.
Then they cried out with a loud voice and stopped their ears.
They did what?
Stopped their ears.
This is how people are when you telling them the truth. Instead of sitting and listen, la 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 la. They stop their ears. They don't want to hear the truth. Ain't you dealing with a brother right now? He don't want to hear the truth.
Absolutely.
So he's stopping his ears because he don't want to hear it. Because he knows it's going to cut him to the core. So instead of taking the truth and going with it, la la la, I don't hear you.
Rather close the book than to just listen.
Read.
And he said, behold, I see the Shamaim open, and the Son of Man standing on the right hand of Elohim. Then they cried out with a loud voice, and stopped their ears, and ran upon him with one accord.
With what?
With one accord.
One accord. The people are one. Just like at the Tower of Babel, it was one. Read.
And cast him out of the city.
They did what?
And cast him out of the city.
And did what?
And stoned him.
Stoned him. Why? Because he was speaking what? The truth. Stephen knew that if he keeps saying what he's saying, that these people are going to kill him. So Stephen is doing what?
Living sacrifice.
Living sacrifice, right? Read.
And the witnesses laid down their clothes at the young man's feet, whose name was Shaul. And they stoned Stephen, calling upon Elohim, saying, Master, Mashiach, receive my ruach. And he kneeled down and cried with a loud voice, Master, lay not this sin to their charge.
Do what?
Lay not this sin to their charge.
So these people are stoning him with stones. And he turned around in all humility and said, they know not what they do. Basically, just like a Mashiach, right? Exactly. Even in this, he's saying, don't put the sin on them.
Sound like it's all.
If that was one of us, what would we say?
Kill him! Kill him! Every last one of them, especially him. Kill him too.
Right? Yeah, exactly. I'm out here trying to preach your word. Lay not the charge on them. Like Mashiach says, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Because if you knew what was coming for you, you wouldn't do this. Because some of these people know what's coming, and they want it. That's why you'll stop your ears from hearing the truth. Finish that up.
And they stoned Stephen, calling upon Elohim, saying, Master, Yahushua, receive my spirit. And he kneeled down and cried with a loud voice, Master, lay not this sin to their charge. And when he had said this, he fell asleep.
He did what?
He fell asleep.
He fell asleep. Now, all of these sacrifices shows all of these people were grown and they was willing to do this because we all have our free will, right? Nobody wasn't forced to do any of these things. That's the key. When we go to these verses, it's going to show you exactly what it's talking about. And when you don't read something into the text, you won't make this great error that's been being made. Go back to the law. Deuteronomy chapter 11. Deuteronomy chapter 11 and verse 26.
Deuteronomy, or Devarim, chapter 11 and verse 26. Behold, I set before you this day a blessing and a curse.
So again, right hand the blessing, left hand the curse. It's on you. You choose. Most I give everybody a choice. Free will. You choose which one you want to do. Read.
A blessing if you obey the commandments of Yahuwah your Elohim, which I command you this day, and a curse if you will not obey the commandments.
So the curse, what's the curse? Gonna end up ultimately being death, right? The second death. Ultimately, if you continue to do it, read.
And a curse if you will not obey the commandments of Yahuwah your Elohim, but turn aside out of the way which I command you this day, to go after other gods.
To do what?
To go after other
To
gods.
go after other gods. Now we know Mashiach wasn't a child, and he was willing to do what he was doing, right? Because it says that I'm going to raise up unto you a prophet like unto Moses, right? And we saw what Moses did. Moses tried to offer himself as a sacrifice for the people, right? So we see the Mashiach, we know that he was a willing sacrifice. Get me Philippians 2 and 8. Now the difference is everybody else in the book sinned. And according to Exodus 32 and 33, you're supposed to be blotted out the book, right? So that's the difference. Everybody else is under the curse of death. But Mashiach never sinned. Read what you got.
Philippians chapter 2 and verse 8. And being found in fashion as a man, he humbled himself and became obedient unto death.
Unto what?
Unto death. Even the death of the stake.
Even the death of the stake. This is Mashiach. Again, a willing. 2 Corinthians 5:21.
Second Corinthians chapter 5 and verse 21. For he hath made him to be sin for us.
He did what?
He hath made him to be sin for us.
So he didn't sin himself, but he made him to be sin for us. Read.
For he knew no sin.
He what?
He knew no sin.
Go ahead.
That we might be made the righteousness of Elohim in him.
Read that last piece again.
For he hath made him to be sin for us, who knew no sin, that we might be made right, the righteousness of Elohim in him.
In what?
In him.
In him. So again, Mashiach wasn't a child, and he was a willing sacrifice to do this. So again, when you go to the army or any of these type of things, you know going in that it's a possibility that they're going to put me in a war, and it's a possibility that I'm going to die. But coming in here, everybody knows this. You're hoping that it don't happen, but you know it's a possibility that this type of thing going to happen. So when you do this work, you can't be worried about if they gonna try to kill me, or they gonna do this to me or whatnot. Give me John chapter 12, verse 25.
John or Yehukanan, chapter 12, and verse 25.
Yep, verse 25.
John chapter 12 and verse 25. He that loved his life shall lose
He
it.
what?
He that loved his life shall lose it.
So if you love your life, if you get afraid to do this work, and like Stephen could have said, all right, man, I don't know him. But if he would have did that, what would have fell on him? That denial. He says, if you deny me before men, I will deny you before my Father. So if you get the cold feet when doing this, when you get scared, now you might fall under, dang, I just denied him. Right? So, still got to just go out. Read that from the top again.
He that love his life shall lose it. He that hate his life in this world,
In what?
in this world,
That's key. He says, in this world. Go ahead.
shall keep it unto life eternal.
And how long?
Eternal.
For life eternal. How long is eternal? Forever, right? But if you get scared and you go out and they jump on you and try to kill you, and then you deny them, it's a dangerous thing. So again, every time you go out, every time you preach this word, you actually putting yourself in a sacrificial state every single time you do this, because this word cuts to the core. Give me Leviticus 18. Leviticus 18 and verse 21.
Leviticus chapter 18 and verse 21. And you shall not let any of your seed pass through the fire to Molech.
To who?
To Molech.
So right here, he says, and you shall not let any of your seed pass through the fire to Molech. Now we've seen that he let Jephthah's daughter go through what? The fire, right? Because she was a burnt offering.
Right.
So this is the verses that they read into the text and say that Yah don't want to sacrifice. Read that again.
It says, and you shall not let any of your seed pass through the fire to Molech.
To who?
To Molech.
To Molech. Go ahead.
Neither shall you profane the name of your Elohim. I am Yahuwah.
I am Yahuwah. So I agree. You're not supposed to let your sons and your daughters go through the fire to Molech. I agree. But they read into the text that this says to Yah. It don't. Leviticus chapter 20. Pick it up at verse 2.
Leviticus chapter 20 and verse 2. Again, you shall say to the children of Israel, whosoever he be of the children of Israel, or of the stranger that sojourn in Israel,
One law for the Israelite and one law for the stranger. Read.
that give any of his seed unto Molech,
Unto who?
unto Molech,
Read.
he shall surely be put to death.
He said what?
Surely be put to death.
Wait a minute. He says, surely if any of the children of Israel or the stranger that sojourneth upon Israel that giveth any of his seed unto Yah,
Molech.
to who?
Molech.
To Molech. Read.
He shall surely be put to death.
So I agree. Don't send your sons and your daughters through the fire for Molech. Read.
He shall surely be put to death. The people of the land shall stone him with stones. And I will set my face against that man, and will cut him off from among his people, because he has given of his seed unto Molech,
unto Yah.
unto Molech.
Wait a minute, he keeps saying unto Molech. So his problem ain't with a sacrifice to him, his problem was a sacrifice to Molech. Read.
To defile my sanctuary and to profane my Kodesh name.
Go ahead.
If the people of the land do any ways hide their eyes from a man when he give his seed unto Molech, and kill him not,
And do what?
and kill him not,
Again, it's to Molech. Read.
then I will set my face against that man and against his family, and will cut him off, and all that go a whoring after him, to commit whoredom with Molech.
With who?
With Molech,
Keep saying Molech. Read.
from among their people.
From among who?
Their people.
From among their people. So all of these scripts keep talking about sacrificing your children, because children are innocent, right? Innocent and pure. That's what they keep talking about. Remember, all them sacrifices, them people was grown and they was willing. So if you sacrifice a child, that means the child was innocent and it's against his free will. Right? It be 2 Kings. 2 Kings chapter 23. and 10.
2 Kings chapter 23 and verse 10. And he delivered he defiled Topheth, which is in the valley of the children.
Anybody know what Topheth is? This is the lake of fire. This is where this is all going to take place at. This is the lake of fire. It's in Jerusalem, by the way. Read.
And he defiled Topheth, which is in the valley of the children of Hinnom, that no man might make his son or his daughter to pass through the fire to Molech.
To pass through the fire to Molech. So if this is the lake of fire, what's going to happen to the people at Topheth? They're going to go through what? You're going to go through the fire as a sacrifice. Just what Molech was trying to defile it and do with innocent children. Right? Get me 2 Kings 16. Pick it up at verse 3.
Second Kings chapter 16 and verse 3. When he walked in the way of the kings of Israel, and made his son to pass through the fire.
Do what?
To pass through the fire.
Made his sons pass through the fire. Read.
According to the abominations of the heathen.
According to who?
To the abominations of the heathen.
According to the abominations of the heathens. Not our practices, but they practice. Made their children go through the fire. Always these innocent children. Notice, it ain't no grown people. It's children that's going through the fire. Finish that out. Pick it up at verse 3 again.
All right. But he walked in the way of the kings of Israel, and made his sons to pass through the fire, according to the abomination of the heathen, who Yahuwah cast out from before the children of Israel.
Read.
And he sacrificed and burnt incense in the high places, and on the hills, and under every green tree.
So he sacrificed and burnt these things to Molech, and innocent children is dying for these things. 2 Kings 21:5. As I'm reading all of these verses, because these are the verses that they say the Most High don't take sacrifices. But when you read it for what it says, it directly is talking about pagan gods, Molech. Right, and killing innocent children. 2 Kings 21 verse 5. Go ahead.
2 Kings chapter 21 and verse 5. And he built altars for all the host of Shamaim in the two courts of the house of Yahuwah, and made his son pass through the fire,
There you go. A child again. Read.
and observed times, and used enchantments, and dealt with familiar spirits and wizards. He wrought much wickedness in the sight of Yahuwah, to provoke him to
To
anger.
provoke him to anger. So again, it keeps talking about passing through the fire to pagan gods. So I agree. Y'all don't take sacrifices to pagan gods. I agree. I agree. All right, keep. Jeremiah 32, 35. So we got to hit all eight verses because these the ones that they twist up. And they read something into the text. They've added something in here that ain't there. Jeremiah 32, 35.
Jeremiah chapter 32 and verse 35. And they built the high places of Baal, which are in the valley of the son of Hinnom.
Where is this at again? That same place, Topeth. Read.
To cause their sons and their daughters to pass through the fire unto Molech.
Unto who?
Unto Molech.
Unto Molech. You keep saying the same thing. But for some reason, they make this to say Yah. And it don't say Yah, it says to Molech. Go ahead. Verse 35.
Which I commanded them not, neither came it into my mind,
It ain't never even come into my mind. I don't know where y'all got that from. Read.
that they should do this abomination, to cause Judah to sin.
So this is an abomination to send your children through the fire. Again, when Moses did this, he ain't say don't do this abomination and sacrifice yourself to me.
Right.
Because he just told us this is an abomination to do this. Because it's about innocent children doing this. Innocent children. 2 Kings 17:30. We gotta hit them all. Second Kings 17 and 30.
2 Kings chapter 17 and verse 30. And the men of Babylon made Succoth Benoth, and the men of Cuth made Nergal, and the men of Hamath made Ashima, and the Avites made Nibhaz, and Tartak, and the Sepharbites burnt the children in the fire.
They did what?
Burnt their children in the fire to Adramelech.
They burnt their children. Y'all bear with my Aki, you know what I'm saying? These names, you gotta be a scholar to read these niggas. So I ain't gonna make you read them again. But he made them do he made them do what?
Let me read it again. And burnt their children in fire to Adramelech and Anamelech, the gods of Sepharvaim.
So again, made them burn their children in the fire to the gods Adramelech and Anamelech, the gods of the Sepharvaim. Alright? So we see the same thing keep going on and on every single time. Go back to the law. Deuteronomy 12:31. Gotta read them because these are the ones that show you. Deuteronomy 12:31.
Deuteronomy chapter 12, verse 31. You shall not do so unto Yahuwah your Elohim, for every abomination to Yahuwah, which he hate, have they done unto their gods.
To who?
To their gods.
To their gods. The abomination, he just told us what it is. If you send your children through the fire, it's an abomination. And they doing it to their gods, not to him. Read.
For even their sons and their daughters they have burnt in the fire to their gods.
Same thing. Not to me, but to their gods. It's not an abomination to do it to me, but it is to their gods. Keep saying it over and over. Deuteronomy 18:10.
Deuteronomy chapter 18 and verse 10. There shall not be found among you any of them that make his sons or his daughter.
So none of these people can be around. If you know that they done this, don't let them be found among you. Read.
Sons or their daughters to pass through the fire, or that use divinations, or an observer of times, or enchanter, or a witch, or a charmer, or a consulter with familiar spirits, or a wizard, or a necromancer. For all that do these things are an abomination unto Yahuwah.
Every one of these things is an abomination to Yahuwah if you sacrifice your sons and your daughters to Moloch. Not to him, but to Moloch or to the other gods, whatever other name that you want to put on it. If you sacrifice it to them, this is an abomination. Right? So, or wizard, or necromancer. That boy very popular. So if you do these things, these are the abomination to do any of these things, right? So in all of these verses, what was it? What was the abomination that we just read? Sacrificing your children to a false idol. The child is what? Innocent, right? So the child is innocent, and the child don't have no what? Say so, no free will. Right? So this we see. This is what this is actually talking about. It has nothing to do with you being a grown man or a grown woman and you are a willing sacrifice. Easy money, right? No confusion, right? What verse you just read?
18 and
Okay.
12.
Give me Ezekiel. Ezekiel 20 and verse 31. What's that gotta read them? No, it's tedious, but it's gotta be read because they'll come back and say, no, but what about? So I got you.
Ezekiel chapter 20 and verse 31. But when you offer your gifts, when you make your sons to pass through the fire, you pollute yourselves with all your idols, even unto this day. And shall I be required of by you, O house of Israel? As I live, saith Yahuwah Elohim, I will not be inquired of by you.
I will not be inquired of by you. Get me Psalms 106 and 34.
Psalms.
Yep, Psalms 106 and 34.
Psalms 106 and verse 34. They did not destroy the nations concerning whom Yahuwah commanded them, but were mingled among the heathen.
They did what?
Were mingled among the heathen.
Mingled among the heathens, read.
and learn their works.
Did what?
And learn their works.
Go not into the way of the heathens. Right? He said we was mingled among them and we learned their works. Read.
And they serve their idols.
Did what?
And they serve their idols.
This is against the law. Read.
Which were a snare unto them. Yeah, they sacrificed their sons and their daughters unto devils.
Unto who?
Unto devils.
Unto me.
Unto devils.
Unto Yah.
Unto devils.
Unto devils. This what makes it abomination, because you did it to devils, not to Yah. Read.
And shed innocent blood.
What kind of blood?
Innocent blood.
Innocent blood, because the whole thing was about doing it to innocent children with innocent blood and no free will. Read.
Even the blood of their sons and of their daughters, whom they sacrificed unto the idols of Canaan.
Unto the who?
Unto the idols of Canaan.
Unto the idols of Canaan. Not Esau.
Canaan.
Read.
And the land was polluted. Blood.
With what?
With blood.
With blood. So he's letting you know that the whole thing was about innocent blood and sacrificing it to these people. Jeremiah chapter 19, verse 4. Jeremiah chapter 19 and verse 4.
Jeremiah chapter 19 and verse 4. Because they have forsaken me and have estranged this place, and have burnt incense in it unto other gods, whom neither they nor their fathers have known, nor the kings of Yehudah, and have filled this place with the blood of innocence.
With the blood of who?
Of innocence.
With the blood of the innocent, because children are innocent. With the blood of the innocent, read.
They have built also the high places of Baal, to burn their sons with fire, for burnt offerings unto Baal, which I commanded not, nor spake it, neither came it into my mind.
So this is the abomination when you do it to false gods and with innocent blood. One more right here. Ezekiel 23:37.
Ezekiel chapter 23 and verse 37. They have committed adultery, and blood is in their hand.
What's in their hand?
Blood is in their
He
hands.
says, and when you stretch forth your hands towards Shamayim, I will not hear it,
Look.
because your hands are full of blood. Right? Read.
They have committed adultery, and blood is in their hands.
What's in their hands?
Blood is in their hands.
Blood is in their hands. Read.
And with their idols have they committed adultery, and have also caused their sons, whom they bear unto me,
They did what?
whom they bear unto me,
Go ahead.
to pass for them through the fire, to devour them.
To devour them again. Innocent children who don't have no free will to do any of these things. Let's see. Remember, Mashiach wasn't a child. He did these things willingly, but it keeps saying to the innocent, right? Get me, I think I'm going to Exodus 27, let me see. Yep, get me, according to the law, all innocent blood. Exodus 23, and pick it up at verse 7.
Exodus, or Shemot, chapter 23, and verse 7. Keep you far from a false matter, and the innocent and righteous slay you not.
Do what?
And the innocent and the righteous slay you not.
So our law tells you directly, the innocent and the righteous, slay them not. But that's what they was doing to Molech, right? It was taking the innocent, the righteous, and you was slaying them and causing them to go through the fire directly for Moloch. So remember, Mashiach was a willing sacrifice to do what he was doing, right? Let's get Isaiah 53. Pick it up at verse 6.
Isaiah 53 and verse 6. All we like sheep have gone astray.
All of us, like sheep, have went astray. Read.
We have turned every one to his own way.
To his own way. Everybody done went and did their own way. Read.
And Yahuwah have laid on him the iniquity of us all.
Wait a minute. He laid the iniquity on who?
And Yahuwah have laid on him the iniquity of us all.
Wait a minute. So they say that this is Israel. Right? But it says, but he have laid on him the iniquity of us all.
Right.
So if this is Israel, who's the us? Don't make sense, do it? Read that again.
All we like sheep have gone astray. We have turned every one to his own way. And Yahuwah have laid on him the iniquity of us all.
So he laid on him the iniquity of us all. Can't be Israel doing it for Israel. Don't make sense. Jump down to verse 8.
Verse 8. He was taken from prison and from judgment. And who shall declare his generation? For he was cut off out of the land of the living. For the transgression of my people was he stricken.
Again. For he was cut off from the land of the living. And for the transgression of my people. Who is his people? The children of Israel, right? For the transgression of my people, he was stricken. So something happened to him for us. Jump down to verse 10.
Verse 10. Yet it pleased Yahuwah to bruise him.
To do what?
To bruise him.
To bruise him. So he's taking this on for us. Go ahead.
He hath put him to grief. When you shall make his soul an offering for sin.
There's what?
His soul an offering for sin.
So according to Isaiah, somebody can be sacrificed for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is this the New Testament?
No, still tonight.
Still the Old Testament, right? It say that back here. Read that again.
Yet it pleased Yahuwah to bruise him. He hath put him to grief. When you shall make his soul an offering for sin, he shall see his seed. He shall prolong his days, and the pleasure of Yahuwah shall prosper in his hand.
Now they'll come right here and they'll say, well, I thought JC didn't have no children. Right? Because it says his seed. But if you cleverly look, that little word is italicized, meaning it was what?
Added.
It was added. So it should say, he shall see seed. Not his seed. Even though he was the one that created you anyway. So even if you want to leave the word in there, still got you. Read that again.
For he shall see seed, he shall prolong his days, and the pleasure of Yahuwah shall prosper in his hand.
The pleasure of Yahuwah shall prosper in Yah's hand.
In his hand.
In his hand. In our hand.
In his hand.
In his hand. Who's this his? I wonder. Because it can't be us. Because it's going to prosper in his hand. Jump down to verse 12.
Verse 12. Therefore will I divide him a portion with the great. He shall divide the spoil with the strong.
Wait a minute. It keeps saying he. Is this us?
Right.
Read.
Because he hath poured out his soul unto death.
He did what?
Poured out his soul unto death.
Which one of us did this? Which one of the children of Israel done it? I'll wait. Read.
And he was numbered with the transgressors. And he bare the sins of many.
He did what?
He bare the sin of many.
Wait a minute. So some man that's got the power to prosper in his hand, he bear the sins of many. How can this be us? I'm confused. How can this be one of us? But we know Moses tried to sacrifice himself. He says, I'm going to raise up a prophet like unto me, like unto him. So if Moses tried to sacrifice himself, then wouldn't the prophet that's supposed to be like him sacrifice himself?
Absolutely.
Read.
And made intercession for the transgressors.
So he made intercession for the transgressors. So if all of us have sinned, go back to Exodus 32, 33.
Exodus chapter 32 and verse 33. And Yahuwah said unto Moses, whosoever hath sinned against me, him will I blot out of my book.
So he says, whosoever transgress against me, him will I blot out of my book. Anybody in here never sinned before? If you've never sinned before in your life, raise your hand. I said, if you have not sinned in your entire life, raise your hand. So according to this, what should happen to you?
It should be blotted out.
Should be blotted out the book, right? So, according to this, if we're going to be blotted out the book, some kind of way, and we all deserve death, right?
Absolutely.
We all should be going to the dirt. Give me Daniel chapter 2. Yep. Chapter 2 and Daniel chapter 12 and verse 2.
Daniel chapter 12 and verse 2. And many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth.
Many of them do what?
That sleep in the dust of the earth.
That sleep in the dust of the earth. Read.
Shall awake. Some to everlasting life.
Some to what?
Some to everlasting life.
Some to everlasting life and some to what?
And some to shame.
To what?
To shame.
But he says many of these people that sleep in the dirt, meaning it's going to be resurrection, right? So some people going to be raised up to everlasting life, and some going to be raised up to what?
To shame.
To what?
To shame.
To shame.
And everlasting contempt.
Everlasting contempt, meaning lake of fire, right? Get me Isaiah 26. Isaiah 26. One moment, let me do something. All right. Matter of fact, I'm going to read this. Y'all stay there. We Isaiah 26, we're going to pick it up at verse 16. So, a lot of people take this verse right here and say that this is false doctrine. Right? So, this is Messiah after he's been crucified. It says, and behold, the veil of the temple was rent in twain from the top to the bottom, and the earth did quake, and the rocks rent, and the graves were open, and many bodies of the saints which slept arose. So a lot of people say that's false doctrine. When this happened? Let me get it right quick. That's Matthew 27 and verse 52. So it says, and the graves were opened, and many bodies of the saints which slept arose. Right? So it's showing you this is when Mashiach got up. What happened? So let's see, can we see this in the Old Testament? Isaiah 26 and 16.
Isaiah chapter 26 and verse 16. Yahuwah, in trouble have they visited you. They poured out a prayer when your chastening was upon them, like as a woman with child that draw near the time of her delivery, is in pain and cry out in her pains. So we have been in your sight, O Yahuwah. We have been with child. We have been in pain. We have sat as it were brought forth wind. We have not wrought any deliverance in the earth, neither have the inhabitants of the world fallen. Your dead men shall live.
Your what?
Your dead men shall live.
Your dead men shall live. Read.
Together with my dead body.
Wait a minute. Read that again.
Your dead men shall live together with my dead body.
Your dead men shall live together with my body. Ain't that what he just told them? He says, and many of the graves were open, and the people did rise up. Many of the saints rose up. Read. Cow. Not cow, but Nasi. Be quiet.
Your dead men shall live together with my dead body. Shall they arise? Awake and sing, you that dwell in the dust.
You that do what?
You that dwell in the dust. For your dew is as the dew of herbs, and the earth shall cast out the dead.
So do what?
Cast out the dead.
Go ahead.
Come, my people, enter you into my chambers and shut your doors. About you, hide yourself as it were from a little moment, until the indignation be overpassed.
So the indignation overpassed. So we know that this can't be the Most High, because he just says, thy dead men shall live together with my dead body. We know this can't be him. So how can you get around this?
Ignore it.
Stop my ears, because I don't want to hear it.
Simple.
Finish it out.
For behold, Yahuwah cometh out of his place to punish the inhabitants of the earth.
He's doing what?
To punish the inhabitants of the earth.
He's coming out of his place. Where is he at right now? Samaim, right? Go ahead.
For behold, Yahuwah cometh out of his place to punish the inhabitants of the earth for their iniquity. The earth also shall disclose her blood, and shall no more cover her slain.
So with this we can see crystal clear, the whole thing about human sacrifice, it was about sacrificing innocent children with no free will to Moloch. It has nothing to do with sacrificing to Yah. Crystal clear, right? So with that, we say, shall we?
And to be